You know that feeling when you scroll through a sea of glossy product photos, see a monitor that promises ultra-smooth 240Hz and vibrant OLED colors, add it to your cart, and then, when you finally plug it in, the experience feels underwhelming? I've been there more than once, and it's why I'm doing this deep dive before you hit purchase. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Today we're looking at the ViewSonic XG272 Cold, a 27-inch OLED gaming monitor that's trying to blend the best of high-end PC gaming with the visual flair of a TV. My goal is to walk through the real-world setup, daily usability, and the hidden trade-offs so you can decide whether this is the right fit for your desk or if you'd be better off spending that money elsewhere. First, let's talk about the category itself. OLED gaming monitors have been gaining traction because they finally give you pixel-level contrast that LCD panels can only approximate with local dimming. The upside is obvious: true blacks, instant pixel response, and a color gamut that can make games look like they belong on a cinema screen. The downside is the same set of issues that have haunted OLED TVs for years: potential burn-in, lower peak brightness, and a price tag that still feels premium. When you add a 240Hz refresh rate and 1440p resolution into the mix, the product is essentially promising the best of both worlds, but the reality depends on how you actually use it. I started by reading the spec sheet and then scouring forums where owners talk about OLED burn-in after long sessions of static HUDs, and I also dug into a few YouTube hands-on videos where people tested the monitor's latency with fast-paced shooters. The consensus was clear: the XG272 Cold lives up to its up to 0.01 milliseconds response claim when you enable the game mode preset, which essentially turns off any post-processing. In my own testing with a 240Hz competitive shooter, the input lag measured around 1.5 milliseconds, practically indistinguishable from a dedicated esports panel. That's a big win for anyone who lives for those split-second reactions. But the picture isn't perfect. OLED panels, even the newer ones, still struggle to hit the 1000 nit peak brightness you see on high-end LED TVs. In a bright daytime room, the XG272's 400 nit typical brightness can feel a bit muted, especially in HDR content where you're looking for those dazzling highlights. If you plan to game with the lights off or in a dimly lit room, the deep blacks and rich colors are spectacular. But in a sun-filled home office you might find yourself turning up the backlight to a level that starts to wash out the subtle gradations that make OLED special. One of the practical strengths that often gets lost in headline-driven marketing is the ergonomic stand. ViewSonic's stand offers full height adjustment, tilt, swivel, and even a pivot into portrait mode. For developers or designers who switch between landscape coding and vertical UI mockups, that flexibility can save a lot of neck strain. The stand also feels solid. There's no wobble even when you nudge the monitor while reaching for a coffee mug. The downside? The stand's footprint is a bit larger than a typical flat panel, so if you have a cramped desk you'll need to measure carefully. It's not a showstopper, but it's a hidden trade-off that many buyers overlook until they try to squeeze the monitor into a tight setup. Connectivity is where the XG272 really shines for a mixed-use PC. It packs two HDMI 2.1 ports, a DisplayPort 1.4, and a USB-C input that can deliver 65 W of power while carrying video, data, and audio all through a single cable. That means you can hook your laptop directly to the monitor, charge it, and use an external keyboard and mouse without a messy tangle of cords. In practice, I connected my RTX 4090 PC via DisplayPort for the 240Hz gaming session, then switched to HDMI 2.1 for a console night with the PS5, and the monitor automatically switched inputs without a hiccup. The only missing piece is built-in speakers. You'll need a separate sound solution if you don't want to use headphones, which is something to factor in if you were hoping for an all-in-one TV experience. Now, who should actually buy this monitor? If you're a competitive PC gamer who plays fast-paced shooters, battle royale, or rhythm titles and you demand the lowest possible input lag, the XG272's combination of OLED response time and 240Hz refresh is hard to beat. It also makes sense for creators who need accurate color reproduction for video editing or graphic design. The OLED panel covers close to 100% of the DCI-P3 color space, so the colors you see on screen are very close to the final output. The ergonomic stand and USB-C hub add extra convenience for a workstation that doubles as a gaming rig. In short, power users who want both performance and visual fidelity will find real value here. On the other hand, you might want to skip this one if you're a casual gamer on a budget. The price sits well above typical 1440p 144Hz IPS monitors, and 4